Hello and welcome to another episode of SuperCoach Insider. My name is Chris and welcome to my team pod going into round 11 now this week. Not a bad little week, but before we get started, obviously a shout out to our major sponsors, Manscaped. Support for SuperCoach Insider is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below the waist grooming. Their products are precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 4 million men worldwide who have trusted Manscaped with this exclusive offer, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code SCInsider100 at manscaped.com. Get into it, guys. You probably know by now I'm very much affirmative on the Manscaped bandwagon. I actually had a poker night with a few of the boys the other night and they were all asking about it, so I couldn't recommend it any high enough. So yeah, get on board. And now jumping into our week, guys. So had a bit of a rough week. I actually thought I was going pretty good. I think I was tracking all right. I didn't go too badly in terms of my overall score, which was 2,376 points. I thought that was going to be pretty good. I thought that was going to pretty much hold rank or maybe even a slight bump, and it turns out I was actually wrong. So that wasn't enough to maintain my overall rank. Unfortunately, I actually dropped about I think it was 275 places, which put me unfortunately just outside the top 1,000 again, ranked in at 1,268 for the season. So yeah, obviously, looking at my team, and I will get into that. The trades that I made last week, I did end up bringing in Bailey Smith. So last podcast that you would have seen, I had a big raps on Sammy Walsh, and that was going to be my plan coming into the team. I ended up going with this Bailey Smith, and the reasoning behind that was obviously with the news coming out for English may not have even been back this week, which meant he may have even been back next week. And then there was really no point in bringing him in at that point because it would be at the bye that you would have to actually bring him in, and you only get him for 1 week, and it's kind of pointless. So I decided, all right, well, if I'm going to pick up one of these Bulldogs players now, or the round 13 players now, instead of English, I'll go the Bailey Smith option because obviously he was so cheap, and the play on the break even and the price adjustment. So that worked in terms of being able to maximize the value out of Bailey Smith and cash. What that meant is that I did hold Raul as well last week. Unfortunately. So I should actually undo these changes so that you see what it was like. But a little bit of a sneak peek there of what I'm looking at doing for trades. But yeah, so I held Raul on field, and I'll get to that a little bit later. But that was really impacted me for over the last couple of weeks, somewhat positively, somewhat negatively, and I'll go through those a little bit later. But yeah, so Bailey Smith obviously went up 20k. Sam Walsh went up about 10k. So, I did actually make some cash on that, but I lost about 16 points. Yeah, which one is either? I would have had to have gone one or the other this week or next. And I did kind of win out there, but not really all the way. I think if you are looking at Bailey Smith, you kind of need to get him this week with his break even so low and his price at that point. So, yes, it's been a good short-term play. Let's see how it works out for me long-term, and we'll go from there. All right, so Hewitt came back on fire. Another 120. He just keeps going and keeps on keeping on. Crisp, I thought, was absolutely fantastic. In fact, the entire Collingwood team played really, really well. Witherden, that's a really frustrating trade. So this is where it starts to really impact me. So my, left field guys that I have in here, I've got Witherden, who's now priced below what I purchased him at, which was 570k. With a high break even. So Witherden now is priced at, let's have a look here. It's 558k with a break even of, it'll be pretty high, I reckon, 157. So he's probably going to be dropping even more cash, which is really frustrating for me. And the main reason it's frustrating is because there's two guys that are overperforming right now that were a lot cheaper that a lot of people have jumped on. And those guys are Jordan Dawson, who's just been pumping out 120s for fun. And Jack Sinclair, who had a 138 this week, obviously with the absence of Jack Steele. So those two guys, I'm losing 70 points on those two scores right off the bat. So that's really the big thing that happened to me this week. A lot of teams do have those guys, whereas I've got Witherden and Ryan. And that's that massive difference in the team. Also have Doherty, which again was supposed to be a positive for me. So these three guys churning out these mediocre scores have been the biggest impact on my SuperCoach team this week. So if I had instead of Doherty, I had Sinclair, instead of Witherden, I had either Stewart or Jordan Dawson, immediately I have it'd be 2,500 plus this week just from those two players. So yeah, I kind of feel like at the time I made the right call and now I'm getting punished for it. And that's really annoying, even though it's probably not exactly at all what's happening, but it is what it is. Now, I did make the right captain choice. So I went with the VC on Clary. So, and again, that's another reason why I thought I was going to go all right this week, because I had the right captain option. Laird, came back with I think he had like 30 points in like 5 minutes in the last quarter to salvage a good score, which was good. Neil obviously had a down game, but he was looking really good at halftime. McRae as well was looking really good and then dropped off. Took looked terrible all game. But I'm not really too worried about Took because a lot of people have Took, so that's not really a thing. Cripps I'm worried about. So Cripps, last 2 games where they've had all 5 midfielders, has now had really dubious scores. However, I kind of give him a pass this week because I think he had 4 or 5 frees against, whereas he's actually been really good on that front. The worry is that his scoring seems to be very much influenced by the goals that he kicks, and he does look good still. He's got the passes, the eye test, but for whatever reason, he's not converting to points. So when he doesn't kick goals and he gives away frees, he doesn't score nearly as well. So what does that mean? Is that a result of how he's playing, or is it a circumstantial thing, or does that mean that all 5 midfielders, he's just not getting that pie? I don't know. We'll have to see. It's probably too early to jump off Cripps. I don't really know where we sit for that for the season. As I've already gone through the Bailey Smith trade, of course, and then Matty Rowell. So 39. Now look at Matty Rowell. I can't he had 5 touches at 3/4 time, which is just ridiculous. So I can't back that up. Unfortunately, he's now got a break. Obviously, I wanted to hold him for that 1 extra week. Problem is his break-even is now 128. He's got no chance of making that. I'd planned trades for the next few weeks based on the fact that Matt Rowell would be around 440k. And now he's 416, dropped 24 straight away. If he drops another low score, he's going to drop below 400k, and I just can't afford that. So I kind of have to trade him a week early. Now, the good news is that's not going to really impact my buy structure because I'm obviously loaded on those round 13 guys anyway. So the likely scenario is as long as I trade this guy to either round 14 or round 14 or 12 premium, then I'm going to be fine. But that's obviously the plan this week. I've got to get rid of Matt Rowell. Now, initially I had a plan to get rid of Matt Rowell and then play Greg Clark on field, and then the forward line would be I would upgrade someone in the forward line, but because of the new change to DPPs, they're all round 13 guys. I can't afford to bring another one of those guys in. So I'm looking to upgrade in the midfield, and Clark hasn't really stepped up to the plate. So the best rookie at the moment is really either Paddy McCartan or SDK, which I can flick around. So it's not really worth not trading in, fielding Clark over McCartan or something similar. So I will probably trade Rowell up and keep Clark on the pine and see if we can loop, if it's even worth it. I don't think it's really worth it. Obviously, Bruce laid out, but he comes back this week, so I held that. I had Dixon on the field, so he got me a 56. Again, can't really be upset with that. I suppose there's another avenue where I lost points this week. A lot of the really good teams all have Jarrod Witts, who just seems to keep on keeping on. Obviously, Gawn is the other one, but he only went 90. So, I mean, if I'm going, okay, well, I didn't have Gawn, therefore I lost, 35 points to 34 points to Gawn. Okay, I'd be happy with that in any given week, so I can't really complain with that. Forward line's just absolutely destroying. So even though I didn't have Cornelio, because obviously I traded that 2 weeks ago, that didn't impact me at all. The main reason is I had Cameron instead. So I did have a lot of people going, you traded Cornelio. I'm like, yeah, but I have Cameron, so I lost 10 points. Whoop-de-doo. My forward line absolutely dominated. Yes, if I had, Cornelio over, say, McCartan on field, I would have got more points that way, but it's unlikely that I would have been in that situation anyway, given the trades that I've made in the last few weeks. So, yeah, I still think trading Canelo was the right call at the time, and it's really still unclear how he's going to go over the next few weeks. So something that we'll probably discuss heavily in the podcast tonight, but just wanted to go through that with you. Also, cheers for the wine, Bart. I'm glad with Rioli, obviously 67, so he's essentially reset his break even. So just another week to get out of that cycle, and that 7 will rotate out, which will be good. Brody Butters also really good. Luke Parker also really good, and Dunkley just keeps on motoring along too. So that's why I thought, look, my team wasn't all that bad. I lost a few points in the ruck. Matt Rowell on field obviously cost me, but what did he cost me? Like 16 points, like not very much at all. It's really the defenders, these guys that should be scoring a lot better, and the guys I don't have scoring really well. And so those guys are all the same. That's Stewart, as I said, Stewart, Dawson, and Jack Sinclair. If those guys are really popular in the top teams, and they were value options at the time, I spent up, and it seems to be backfiring. So I've got to keep an eye on that. May need to sideways them after their buys. I'm not sure. We'll see how we go. Now, you probably already had a look at what I'm doing. I'm still a little bit up in the air as to how I'm rolling through this. At this stage, it looks like I'd like to be able to trade Dacos. I mean, break even of 88 is not terrible, but it seems to be unachievable based on his last few scores, right? So if you have a look at his scoring profile, the last time he got 88 was when he hit the big 125 in round 4 against West Coast. Outside of that, he's gone 71, 71, 75, 80, 69, 65. So he's probably going to lose cash. However, I kind of feel like in order for me to field as many people as I can in round 18, I have to keep him. Round 13, I've got to keep him. So it looks like to me I've got to trade someone else. The problem is I don't know who to trade. So I definitely have to get Cleary in. I've got the 3 options there in Dacos, De Koning, and McCartan. I don't want to trade these guys because they've just reset their break even again. But they're probably only 1 game away from tanking their price. So I'm probably going to have to trade one, and it's probably going to be SDK. I think I'm a little bit more confident in McCartan scoring than SDK scoring. But this could backfire, guys. So don't... I don't know. What am I losing out here? Let's have a look at SDK. Break even of 43. Projected score 76. And now, who are they playing? Let's have a look at this. So look at this run. Adelaide Dogs before the bye, and then which is probably when I have to trade him anyway. Adelaide and Dogs. And what do we got on McCartan? So their run is... All right, so they've got Richmond, Melbourne. Wow, that kind of leans me towards SDK, right? That's tough. That's real tough. All right. Do we trade McCartan, guys? Is that what we're doing? I think that's what we have to do. I don't know. Watch this space, but at this stage, let's go with trading McCartan. And... I mean, I'd love to be able to trade Dixon instead, but the problem is I don't have a ruck to be able to replace him. Next week I will, because I'll have Cameron to be able to do that. So I'll be able to take the cash from Dixon next week, but unfortunately this week I'm not going to be able to do it. So having a look here, the other one obviously that needs to go is Matt Rowell. So I'm trading Matt Rowell and bringing in a couple there. So let me bring, obviously Cleary is the number 1 rook. I think he's really the only rook at the moment, so he's got to come in, and then I'm seriously looking at just going straight up to Walsh now. There's a few reasons why, but obviously I need either again a round 12 or round 14 player. I can afford to do this with my buy structure. That works. My other option is of course Petrarca. I just think Walsh scores Petrarca for the rest of the year. I think it's like a decent enough. I think it's 5 points per game. So is it worth the cash extra? Probably. The other one I could go for is Darcy Parish. I do really like Parish. I'm going to be picking up Parish or Walsh anyway. So it's going to be one of these 2 guys. But look, plays the Pies this week. I got to get him in. I'm going to be at the game. So I'm flying down to Melbourne for this game this weekend. So I am... I do not want to be there, sitting there watching that game and watch Walsh literally rub it in my face. That's not going to happen. I'm not doing that. So I'm going to trade in Sam Walsh. and I'm going to hope that Carlton lose, and then cheer on for the 1, 2, 3, 4 Carlton players that I have in my team for SuperCoach. So we'll see how we go. That's how it looks for me. Obviously, that leaves me with about 100k left. The only rookie that looks like coming in is Jacob Ware next week, so I'll probably get him. Where I get him is probably the question, because, again, you've got to try and keep Dacos, right? So, who knows? I don't think Ware has defender mid status. So that's something to think about. This week is when looking at trades, etc. Is there, where are you going to get that next one from? So might have to. So next week it might be Macomb out, for example, and then moving Dacos into the midfield. Or actually, there's another option. I should probably say. So Bailey Smith will get DPP after next week, so I can move him forward, and then. Yeah, I can move him forward. I can trade out to Koning next week, or I can move out Dixon, because I'll be able to move Cameron out. So I can trade out Dixon, move Cameron into the ruck, move Bailey Smith forward, and then I can move Dacos into midfield and have him at M8 until we trade him up. So yeah, there's definitely a way that I can do that. That's really good. Awesome, guys. All right, well, that is my team, guys. In terms of vice captain and captain, let's have a quick squeeze at what I'll do. I mean, I think it's always pretty obvious for me. I like to try and include Lachie Neale just because of his ceiling. Now, I know they're playing GWS, but with McVeigh at the helm, I'm not sure if he goes for the tagging route. So it might be worth going Neale as the VC on Saturday. He plays in the afternoon there. And then Clary, I don't like that Freo matchup. Sarong's been known to tag, so maybe they go head-to-head. Doggies are playing West Coast. That's probably the game. And it's probably McRae. I think that's probably your backup option is Captain McRae. Yeah, I think that's the go, guys. So I think it's VC Neale and Captain McRae. Beautiful. All right, guys. Well, thank you for your time, and I look forward to, again, jump in the comments, have a chat with us. It's been going really well. If you have any questions, hit us up on Twitter, at SCInsider100, or my personal Twitter, which is at CFX_1. And I'll catch you next time, guys. Bye.